How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe. Today we're going to be working on my 2013 Ford F150 FX4 that I recently picked up from Copart. If you haven't seen the intro video for this truck, make sure to go watch that. I'll link it up in the upper right corner. I also purchased this 2011 F150 with a 6-inch BDS lift kit that the engine was bad, and I was originally planning on rebuilding it, but I went against that idea because the body is very, very rusty. So today we're working on the FX4. We need to get it fixed up. It's got some wiring and some front end damage. I purchased this from Copart for $7,000. Again, this is the FX4 model, which has a limited slip differential and all the bells and whistles. I'll show you the interior as well, but here is the front end. As you can tell, the radiator and everything smashed in. And also when the previous owner was driving it, this was hitting the tire, and I guess it rubbed through some of the wiring. That's why the battery was dead. Here is the interior. As you can see, it has the red leather striping as well as the, I guess you call it suede perforated leather. It has a little bit of marks here from the previous owner with paint, but we can get that cleaned up, I believe. But we're not going to focus on that too much today. We're going to get this thing running because I haven't started it yet. And I want to make sure it runs because I had really bad luck with the white one over there. So we're going to fix this thing up. Hopefully there's no timing damage like it was on the white one. So let's just go ahead and dive into this thing. All right, so here's the wiring where we're having issues with. As you can tell, it got ripped up here from the tire. So I'm gonna cut back all this and really see which wires are damaged. All right, so I'm just gonna go at these one at a time. Some of these are not actually ripped all the way through. And I'm gonna try to cut off the least amount possible so that this isn't any shorter than it already was. All right, so here's the new wiring that I did. You see I got it all taped up basically to how it was before. The areas where the loom was broken, I just triple taped it, so it's pretty strong. Whenever I drive this thing, I need to make sure I hang this up somewhere because this actually clips into the fender liner, and I believe it is missing a clip that is right here that snaps in somewhere up in here and the fender liner. And also I did break this connector right there. It plugs in right there. I already popped it out, but I'm gonna just steal that off of the white truck over there and just put it back in the factory spots, measure it and everything. That way everything is perfect on this loom. Try to plug the key in. Nothing. Okay, so I was having a little bit of issues with these terminals. I went ahead and got them cleaned up. I was suspecting that when I plugged it up, the vehicle wasn't getting enough voltage. So I checked it from this point right here, the screw, and this one, and I was getting like not even 1 volt. It was like millivolts. So I think this contact around here was just super corroded. So I went ahead and cleaned that up. And I'm gonna tighten these down as well, just to get full contact. But I did hear the fuel pump kick on, which means we are getting power. And there we go, we got power. So this 20 amp fuse right here is for the fuel pump. It goes right there. And I'm gonna leave this out and just crank this motor over a few times just to get oil to the turbos, the bearings and all of that. So put you guys back here. Hopefully we can get it to crank. I'm gonna do it just for about 5 seconds just to get the oil flowing. That sounded very weird. It started, which is odd. But I'm gonna go ahead and put the fuse back. See what we got here. That sounded very weird, kind of like a cam phaser, which is not going to be good if it is. All right, hopefully this thing is not broken. If you ask me, that definitely sounds like a cam phaser. Seems to be running okay. I'm gonna give it just some baby revs. Start was a lot better. I think the oil was still at the bottom. I probably should have cranked it a few more times. It's doing fine now. There was a few codes for O2 sensors, etc. Easy stuff. That's what it sounds like right now. I do see something smoking. I think that is, what is that? Something on the turbo's smoking. Let me turn it off. I don't want to overheat it, but it looked like there's a bunch of grease over here. Yeah, I think it's just the turbo's heating up. All right, so it actually started. I wasn't expecting it to start, to be honest with you. It did say run and drive on Copart, but in the listing with the pictures, it showed the tachometer was still at 0, and they're supposed to start it at Copart to show that it actually runs. But this one actually runs. It doesn't have coolant, so we can't run it for very long. I do suspect there could be cam phaser issues, which I'll know later on. I might change the oil and do some things to kind of fix that. It also could have been that this F150 hasn't been started in a while and the oil just needed to be recirculated. It was just probably the timing change, just making metal on metal noises until it got oil. I do want to show you guys some of these codes. So this is the one I'm worried about, is a camshaft positioning sensor timing. Now it could just be that this sensor is bad, but since you kind of hear that rattle right at the beginning, I was looking on the forums, and that is a sign of a cam phaser going bad. So it's good to catch that at the beginning. I'll do another cold start and see if I hear that noise, but we'll go ahead and go to these other codes. We have an O2 sensor. That's just probably bad. I have one from that truck. I could probably just steal and throw it on just to see if it works. And whatever this is, not really too sure on that one. I'll have to look that up. But not too worried about those, honestly. I think it was probably the battery being low. All right, let's start it up and hopefully we don't have that cam phaser noise. Well, I think I might have heard a little bit of noise at the beginning. This oil is really dirty, so I'm gonna do an oil change, see if that really fixes it. It's been about 12 hours, maybe even more, since I last started this. Usually it happens after 6 or 8 hours or so of letting the oil drain down, and the cam phasers are dry of oil. But I'll have to review the footage. I kind of heard a little something, maybe for a split second. I think we're good. I think this motor's good. We just need to fix a few things. The issue we're having with the brakes, this reservoir has broken tabs down here. I don't know how this happened. I guess maybe an impact came in here and broke it off or something, but I'm going to steal this part off of my truck. I might need to swap this entire assembly right here, which would require me to undo the brake pedal, but if I can, let's see if I can get these little tabs out of here on the other one and just swap over this reservoir, because this reservoir is broken right here, as you can see. Perfect. It looks like these little pins here just slide out of this master cylinder, and we'll be able to swap this over. All right, so we actually got both of these things off. We actually need this piece as well. It holds the coolant and the lower part of the intake box, but we got the main part off that we needed was this brake master cylinder. The one thing I was worried about was on my G35 coupe, on this master cylinder, it has a spot here where it goes out here and it has like a little fork that connects to the pedal, and you have to go inside the vehicle and undo that little bolt. And that's kind of a pain in the ass to do, and you have to adjust it and all that, make sure you get it adjusted and everything. But this actually just presses right here, and that mechanism is actually attached to the brake booster. As you can see, you can press that in and out. I can just push these pins back in, and we can just use this part instead of swapping out the reservoir. So that's good. This is even a lower mileage one as well. This has about 140,000 miles. That truck has 160 something. All right, guys, have some good news. I got this new, or not new, but used master cylinder, brake master cylinder in. It fits pretty good. There is a little bit of a difference. You can see at the bottom here where these little, I guess this is kind of like a drain for it. A little slightly different on this one, but if it makes a difference braking, I will probably throw this one in, just clean it up and put the reservoir thing on top of it. But anyways, I'm gonna try that out. Another good thing that I found was, I think I found our coolant leak. So right here, this connects into our reservoir tank for our coolant. And if you look at this one, this broken one here, it's broken off. And on our new one, we got it. So what I'm hoping is I'm gonna undo this connector here. All you do is just pop out this little clip here, pops it like that, be able to pull it out. And I'll put our new one in. So I went ahead and got everything all buttoned up. I also cleaned it as well, so it just looks way nicer. I'm gonna go ahead and put some of this .4 low viscosity in here. I just had some of this laying around, and this is actually the specific brake fluid that this system needs. So I got a little bit of a can in here, and I got another can right there. So that should be enough for this. So I'm just gonna fill this up. I'm obviously not going to keep this water in here because it's not good for the cooling system, but I'm just doing this temporarily to see if I get any leaks. And once I get some actual coolant, I'll put it in here. Oh, I just see a leak back here. Oh, here. Forgot to plug this in. That's what it was. Oh shoot, never mind, there's a hole right here.
Didn't make the noise at all that time. Oh, this is great.
Yeah.
This is great.
It was running a little rough when I started it for like a minute or two, and then it was running good.
I got my finger on this leak, so
the fans kicked on like immediately. It's right where that tab is. I think it just got bent out.
And I can't really stop it.
All right, so we got this thing running. It's actually running pretty good. The codes didn't come back. I rescanned it. We let it run for about 5 minutes or so, and it was doing pretty good. The turbo on the passenger side was smoking a little bit. I think that was just from oil from the valve cover leaking onto it, probably from a long time ago. I'll wash all that off. But for right now, I want to install this radiator support with all the coolers because it is leaking right here, as I did show you in the last clip. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I also got the intercooler right there with the headlights. I'm not gonna be going with those headlights, but they'll just be temporarily so I can actually drive this thing legally. But we're gonna go ahead and look in the back here. I wanna go ahead and sort through all this stuff because there's a lot of things back here. All right guys, so it's the next day here. In the last clip, you guys saw that I cleaned out the entire bed. We got basically all the parts here, the engine cover. I pulled it off before, I just threw that back in the bed. We got a bed cover right here, which I'm hoping is not broken. We got a few mats back there, and we got the original fender here with the badging there, which I'm really happy about that we have that badge. Obviously, we'll need a new fender as well as the little fender flare, the factory fender flare. These are just some broken parts right here that we're not going to be using. We got the radiator and everything all taken out, and here is the new one right here. I've already showed you guys this. Once we did take the radiator support off, I did notice one connection right here that was broken. I went ahead and epoxied that back together, and seems to be holding pretty well. I'm surprised that this engine ran so well at the beginning of this video with that big hole right there. I feel like that would mess with the mass airflow sensor up here. So hopefully it runs a lot better with that being connected properly. I also got this thing washed completely. It's looking a lot better. Hopefully it doesn't smoke as much over here because those turbos were melting some of the grease back there. I also pulled off the fender liner off of the other F150 over there, and I'm gonna try to put this on here as well as replace some of these little white tabs here that are broken and get this thing put back properly. Was able to get the whole radiator and everything put in. It's looking pretty good. It's fitting up pretty good. That tells me that the frame rails are straight. This is the radiator support off of 2011, and this is a 2013. Fits up perfectly. There's really no differences at all. Just need to make sure you put all your connectors and wiring all in the same spot. There's 2 ports for the radiator, including this one, and there's 2 ports for the, I believe it's a transmission cooler. This one right here, it also has a small portion in the radiator right here as well. You can see the line comes up here, goes through here, goes up here, and then comes down. So that is good. And also you have your 2 AC ports right here as well. And that's pretty much it. The rest of it is just putting in all the wiring. The hood is a little bit damaged right there, as you can see, so I'll probably have to swap that one over. I also took the grill off and put the hood latch on, so everything latches on perfectly. I went ahead and filled up the coolant reservoir with water, just tap water. I just want to make sure there's no leaks. I want to start it and flush out basically all the old coolant. But with that being said, let's go ahead and start this thing up and see if it makes any weird noises. We're gonna do our first mod on the new F150. It's gonna be an air raid intake. This is actually an intake off of the first F150 that I bought. I just cleaned it up, and we're gonna see what it sounds like. But first, we need to take off the old intake here. We utilize the factory box right here, but we use an aftermarket filter. And then also it comes with the piping, as you've seen right there. That's a little bit different. I guess it's a little bit bigger for more volume. So you don't really hear a whole lot of induction noise when it's just in park and you're revving it, because it only lets you rev to like 3,000 RPMs. But we definitely hear a little bit of noise with the stock filter when we're just driving it, because we've already driven this a little bit. But we'll go ahead and pop this one off and see if we can tell a difference.
One, two,
And yank that thing off.
three.
It's hard to tell. I mean, the opening here is the same. Wait, hold on, put that back. So yeah, see, look, the opening's the same here, but this one, oh no, it just bulges out a little bit. It's hard to tell. It's not, the inlets are going to be the same, but it's like the actual tubing. Here, yeah, put your hand around this, like this area on the Y.
Okay.
And just like, yeah, like two hands.
So
just like,
I can cover up my fingernails.
Okay.
Now granted, I have small hands.
Now do the same thing on this one. That one feels heavier for some reason.
This one's also good. Yeah. So
oh, that's pretty big. Let me see. Fingernail and a half bigger.
I'd say about a whole
that's
fingernail.
Quite a bit bigger, I guess.
Did you rip that out of that truck?
Yeah.
Where's that truck's motor at?
Sold. So we have this little fitting here. So I guess some of the vacuum lines or whatever were different. So we actually need to cap that off. So we might just put, what, electrical tape probably hold that. We don't have actual cap. It's just an intake. It's just an intake, so it'll work. I do have caps at home, but I don't have them with me, so we'll just do that for temporary. No, yeah, just pull that off. And then take the filter.
Oh, does this go over the top of it still?
Yeah, we still use the same thing here.
I didn't realize that.
This is the old one. And we're just slapping this thing in here. I guess it's quite a bit more volume, I guess you'd say, more high flowing than this. So put that in there.
Which way does that bad boy go?
It will only fit one way, downward. Put that downward, yeah.
No, you don't. You want it like this.
Yeah. So we're sucking in from the
exactly more air.
Way. Look, made in USA. This ain't no Chinese.
Man's concerned about Chinese and USA, but he's putting duct tape over his fucking tubing deal over there.
Yeah, we don't need that no more. Alright, so now we need to cap this off, so we'll just go find some electrical tape.
We'll be right back.
There's our little tape job. We got the port closed there. Some electrical tape. So we're going to throw the new pipe on here. Is that a good angle?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright. Bam, all right. See if it does anything. Vital any different? No?
About the same.
Still hear like some kind of vacuum thing from here.
It sounds literally the exact same.
That's funny. I didn't expect it really to sound different because it still uses the same thing, but I didn't hear any difference driving it when it's under load. The shocks sound weird.
It sounds squishy.
Damn, it's quiet.
Yeah, brakes are good. I think that dude's thing is loud. I'm gonna get out
here. Okay, which way?
That's where the intake is. Go up by that mailbox.
Okay.
Didn't make a huge difference, but could argue it makes more power because it's a higher flowing air filter and it's larger volume. Otherwise, it sounded pretty cool from the outside. I just watched a video. All right guys, so we basically got all the fluids changed in this, including the brakes, which is really easy to do. All we did was start from the farthest end, which is the rear right, and then we went all the way around and bled all the fluid. When I did drive it, it did feel a little spongy at first, but then once I slammed on the brakes a few times, let the ABS pump kick in, it started feeling a lot better. There is a weird noise still coming from the brake booster here. It's just kind of like a hissing vacuum noise. I don't know if that's normal. Could also be that I'm using the master cylinder from the 2011 model, which was slightly different as I showed you in previous clips. But I also got the whole front end put together and cleaned up. We power washed it. We cleaned this entire truck. We also did transmission fluid, oil. I put that Marvel Mystery oil stuff in there, or whatever it is. I don't remember what the name of it was, just to clean out some of the gunk in there. I did start it yesterday this morning after it's been about 24 hours and it still made that timing chain rattle noise. So I will eventually have to do a timing chain on this. For right now, I think it's fine until it gets really bad. But I did drive it around kind of off camera, just kind of diagnosing all the issues with it. There's really nothing on this truck that is performance-wise messed up. The rear shocks do kind of squeak a little bit because they are damaged. The blinkers and the parking light work, but the headlight doesn't work because it uses a 3-pin connector, and this one uses Xeon or HID headlights, which I don't have, so I'll have to get those. Also, we got the fender and the hood off of this truck. Basically, these are all the parts that we need. We just got to clean them up, do some body work on them, and then paint them black. I'll probably get them all fitted up because the fender specifically has some areas where it might need framework because this is bent up a little bit. Some of these tabs are also bent, and also this, I believe I'll have to weld that. I brought my little flux core welder. I'm gonna fix that in the next video. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for part 2. It's coming really soon. We're gonna get all those parts put on, and we're gonna be getting some driving clips as well of this. Make sure to subscribe and leave any comments below. Thanks for watching.